would have been the greatest AFL draft steals in history. Before we get into this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, comment what your thoughts are, follow the TikTok FTFooty, and let's get right into this. In the 1997 AFL draft, at pick 43, one of the greatest steals I've ever witnessed, not that I was alive at that time, but Adam Goodes went to Sydney at pick 43. Multiple Brownlow winner, award winner, what he did outside the game, off-field, on-field, one of the greatest players you'll ever see play, versatile, ruck, forward, midfielder, scary good, and the fact he went at pick 43 begs the question, were there 42 better players than him? Fuck no. Two-time premiership player, as I said, dual Brownlow medalist, four-time All-Australian medalist, played 372 games, which is cooked, and at the end of the day, he deserves probably pick number one. Also Australian of the Year in 2014, pretty fucking handy. You don't see that with pick 43 every day of the week. Now, a couple years later in 1999, that AFL draft, at pick 28, Dean Cox. Not the greatest still a relatively high draft pick, and as a rucks will never be a very high draft pick in the draft. Traditionally, they never have been. But we all know what Cox did, arguably the greatest ruck of all time. Flag winner, big game player, 300, well, nearly 300 games, phenomenal player. We all know Hawthorn have amazing prowess in the draft, in particular they did in the 2000s with some of those amazing draft steals. At pick 36 and the 2001 draft went Sam Mitchell. Sam Mitchell was a phenomenal steal for them. He was actually overlooked in the 2000 national draft, but he somehow got picked up a year later by the Hawthorn VFL side, the Box Hill Hawks. Mitchell, premiership captain, multiple flag win. I think he's won 4. 3-time All-Australian, 5 best and fairest. Brownlow medal, technically in 2012, although I don't think he deserved it. One of the most skillful players you'll ever see, left foot, right foot, decision making. All in all, great draft steal. In that same draft, one of the coups of the century, arguably the greatest draft steal you'll ever see, at pick 58 in 2001, Dane Swan to Collingwood. And that man became one of the best players in his prime. Big game player, Brownlow winner, arguably should have won 2 Brownlows, won the flag for Collingwood. He was just an absolute character, a star of the show, the face of football for so many years, and the fact Collingwood picked him up at pick 58 is amazing. 5 All-Australians as well, that man is ridiculous. 2001, again, obviously those who remember, 2001 was a fucking mega draft, a super draft. At pick 71, even later, was Brian Lake to the Dogs. Now Lake predominantly did most of his work as a fullback at the Dogs, a very good defender, but he won the flag when he went to Hawthorn, winning the Norm Smith as well, which you'll never see happen again. A defender, a fullback winning the Norm Smith. Crazy good, and that is why he is an absolute steal. Matthew Boyd went to the Dogs in the same draft, 01 again, 2001, but a rookie pick, 23. And he went on to win 3 All-Australians, many awards for the Dogs. Won the flag in 2016, was a captain for 3 years, nearly played 300 games, and the fact that he was in the rookie draft at pick 23 as well speaks volumes to the player he was. It's pretty rare you see players like that, but that is just the definition of diamond in the rough. In 2010, at pick 44, Jeremy McGovern went to the Eagles. Famous player, very great defender, arguably the greatest, one of the great defenders for the last 10 years. In 2018, he was part of that big play in the last minutes of that grand final to win them the flag. All in all, that is just a really good draft steal. At the time, this guy wasn't that great, and there was a reason he went at pick 58 in the 2011 draft. Lachie Neale to Fremantle. Lachie Neale was a sort of kind of talented but chubby midfielder, which screamed pick 58. But the reality is, you have to say it's a steal because this man has done phenomenally well. 2 Brownlows at pick 58. Fucking hell. Sometimes, I mean, that just kind of shows that players mature at different rates. You know, Lachie Neale clearly must have matured late or sort of came into his own late. Some players prime or get to the best of their abilities when they're quite young. So this is just an example of sort of aging like fine wine, and that is a bloody good steal. One of the great stories, a mature age man, Tom Stewart, at pick 40 in the 2016 draft. And he has since been probably the best defender from that period of time since he was drafted. Really good player, phenomenal guy, great leader, so defensively astute and solid, and he's really just made Geelong the team they are and helped them win that flag. Andrew Embley for West Coast, he went at pick 57 in 1998, famously won the Norm Smith in 2006 with a phenomenal performance in that grand final against Sydney. 250 games, games, consistent player, great player, and that is a steal. Also a steal was another number 44 for Geelong, Corey Enright, when it picked 47 in 1999. Won the 3 premierships, 6 All-Australians, over 330 games, phenomenal player, and that is a fat fucking steal. Port Adelaide at pick 55 in 2006 picked a 4-time All-Australian, a Player of the Year, AFLCA Player of the Year in 2014, Showdown medalist, 271 games, Robbie Gray. Such a good player, a leader, big game player, goals after the siren. He is just such a steal. If you had watched my top 10 AFL forwards for the last decade, which is up on my YouTube channel, make sure to watch that now along with all the other top 10 of the decade. He was, I believe, my 8th best forward for the last decade, 2013 to 2023. And at pick 55, that's a steal. Now, some players who are playing currently, who are draft steals, Nick Larkey went at pick 73 in 2016. Now, he's been up towards the Coleman in one of the worst North Melbourne sides you'll ever see. The season that just went, I believe he finished 3rd in the Coleman, which is absolutely phenomenal given that the service he would have had would have been so below par. And at pick 73, that's crazy. James Sicily went at pick 56 in 2013. What a player he is. Luke Ryan at pick 66 in 2016. Also another great defender. A lot of these key defenders and key forwards are going to late picks who are steals. Mitch Lewis for Hawthorn, pick 76 in 2016. When he's fit, he averages over 2.5 goals in 2022 and 2023, so he's also a great player. Some more honourable mentions. Rory Sloane went at pick 44 for Adelaide, which is crazy because he was a captain, nearly led them to a flag. What's more crazy is his teammate who's still playing as well. Tex Walker at pick 75 is phenomenal. What he's begun to do, he was nearly in my top 10 forward for the last decade, but he has just been a standout player. Brisbane took Dane Zorko in a rookie selection, which is phenomenal. Dane Zorko was overlooked in 4 consecutive drafts, which just makes him an even better steal. His teammate as well, Harris Andrews, went at pick 61 relatively recently, and Tom Rockcliffe was a pre-season pick number 5 draft pick, which is crazy. Eddie Betts for Carlton was a pick 3 in the pre-season draft. Pick 3 in the pre-season. What the fuck? That's a phenomenal steal. And if you look at his teammate who's relatively recently retired, Cade Simpson, went at pick 45 as well. One of the most games ever in the AFL history, one of the best, well, most consistent players. That's a steal and a half. Collingwood fans, Nick Maxwell was a rookie selection, so that's a pretty good draft steal. Essendon fans, you'll be screaming right now. You probably have one of the best, James Hird, at pick 79. One of the greatest players in ability-wise you'll ever see. Flag winner in his prime, Norm Smith, Brownlows, fuck me, he was a good player. Jeez, he was just an absolute star. And that is probably one of the best steals so far. Aaron Sandilands to Fremantle went at a rookie selection, which is very staggering given his prowess throughout all those years as a ruck at Fremantle. Mickey Walters currently at Fremantle as well. He went to pick 54, which is another steal. Luke Bruce, who was my 10th best forward in the last decade, he went to pick 47 for Hawthorn, which is staggering given his success, his consistency, his body of work. Absolute steal for Hawthorn. Hawthorn are in this list a lot. They are very fucking good in the draft. Equally, they took Ben Stratton, who was a captain of that club, at pick 46. And there's so many more, like Brad Sewell was a rookie selection. I could go on for ages about Hawthorn. Brent Harvey for the North Melbourne Football Club went at pick 47. Extremely straightforward. One of North Melbourne's greatest players of all time. The most games in the AFL, VFL history. Flags. Fucking, what else do you want? Captain of the club. 4-time All-Australian. Team of the century for North Melbourne. That was one of the trade steals of the century. This is one that sort of, he wasn't an amazing player, but Justin Westhoff for Port Adelaide went at pick 71, which I think is a pretty notable mention. Now for my club, Richmond, Dylan Grimes, pre-season selection, 3 flag winner, now the captain of the club, body of work, plays on tall, plays on small, one of the most gifted defenders you'll see. And similar to Ben Stratton, we got Chris Newman, a captain of our club, at pick 55 as well, which is a pretty good steal. Stephen Milne for St Kilda was a rookie selection, which is crazy, given how good he was. Arguably the best small forward of the generation. Who knows? Ryan O'Keefe for Sydney went at pick 56. Big steal. Brownlow medalist Matt Priddis was in the rookie selection for the West Coast Eagles. Now that is a steal. And our first pick in the 100s, Chris Grant for the Dogs. Phenomenal player. Went at pick 105. Now, if that's ever been a steal, that's not a steal, then what is a steal? That just is one. But arguably the greatest steal of all time, which I've left for last, is Gary Ablett Jr., who in 2001 as well, when at pick 40, arguably turned out to be the greatest player of all time, 2-time premiership player, 2-time Brownlow medalist, 5 times Lee Matthews trophy winner, captain for Gold Coast for sort of 6 years, won 6 best and fairest, 8 All-Australians, won a leading goal kick for Geelong in 2006 and 2 for Gold Coast, played over 350 games where he kicked nearly 500 goals. He is the greatest steal you will ever see. 2 more really quick honourable mentions that I didn't quite see. Josh Kennedy for the Sydney Swans when it picked 40, well actually for the Hawthorn Football Club when it picked 40 in 2006. Tom Hawkins at pick 41 in 2006 as well. Both big steals. But overall, they are all the steals. Let me know what is your best and biggest draft steal in the history of the AFL in this video. I've gone through all of them. Give me your best and give me why in the comments. Let me know. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow the TikTok FTFooty, and I'll see you in another video.